Welcome back to another episode of Arkansas Basketball Recap, where we recap every Arkansas basketball game. Today we are recapping the Arkansas Razorbacks 93-92 victory over the 25th ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs, where they almost let it slip away. They almost did. They almost allowed the comeback. When you look at the numbers, it's almost hard to find how Arkansas won this game by 1 point. Like how they didn't win this game by like a lot of points. Because Arkansas's numbers in this game are great. So it's uh it's hard. Arkansas shoots 55.5% from the floor, going 31 of 56. They shoot 9 of 21 from the 3-point line. That's a great number. It's 42.9, 43% as a team, and not taking too many of them. 9 of 21, great. 22 of 27, 81.5% from the free throw line. They out rebound Mississippi State, who typically, good rebounding team. They out rebound them 29-41. Arkansas on the glass. Uh, Arkansas, this is the biggest stat. Arkansas makes 31 baskets. They had 21 assists. So on all but 10 of their buckets, they were assists. So two-thirds of their buckets were assisted, which is like that number is nuts. Like you never see that. So 21 assists as a team on 31 made shots. Arkansas turns it over. Maybe they turned it over like way too much. Arkansas with 10 turnovers in the whole game. That's fine. You go to Mississippi State, you try to figure it out, like what would happen here. So Mississippi State goes 32 of 73 for 44%. That's 10% less than Arkansas, 11% less than Arkansas. They go 12 of 32 from the 3-point line. So they did make three more threes, but they only shot 37.5%. They were 16 of 21 from the foul line. That's 76.2%. Like I said, 29 rebounds. Here's the number that you're like, how did this work? Like, how did Arkansas out rebound Mississippi State like that? And somehow Mississippi State had 73 shots and Arkansas had 56 shots. How did that work? And you'd be like, well, maybe Arkansas turned the ball over a ton. No, they turned it over 10 times. Mississippi State turns the ball over twice. And that's the only number that you can really find that you're like, I guess that's it. I mean, and that's not to say Arkansas turned the ball over way too much, but you're just saying, man, they didn't turn the ball over at all. And so,
Yeah, that actually was surprising. I heard that stat and I was like, well, it didn't really feel like that we like did great on turnovers, but and really our overall defense in that game was, maybe not as good as it has been in the past. Um, but when you looked at that, it was like I guess maybe they're just really good with the ball. I mean, I'm not sure what their historical turnover ratio is, but I'm wondering too if it's just we were dude that's those short rotations, and then obviously especially in the first half, not having when Brazil got that second early foul and the rotation became, I mean, it's just six guys for that entire 15 minutes of or really 17 minutes of that first half. I mean, like you said, I mean you could see that was. I mean, some of them were pulling on their jerseys wanting a sub, and he just didn't have one for them. I gotta wonder if part of the slight downtick on defensive efficiency, and then definitely not being able to, because the way you get steals, I mean, most of them, unless the other team just gifts them to you, and even forced turnovers, sometimes teams just literally throw a bad pass over a guy's head. But a lot of times it's, those extra energy effort plays, speeding through a passing lane or even getting your hand just stretched out and tipping a ball. And our guys were definitely worn out by even the end of the first half. You could tell, I think, that uh, they not that they were gassed, but they were not, uh, they didn't have an abundance of extra gas in the tank
yeah,
for,
which
you know what I mean?
understandably so, right? Or just how could
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the reason that we allowed them to come back and erase that 16-point lead. It's just, and honestly, I mean, always talk about stuff that's not really it doesn't really matter. But I was sitting there telling my wife, I'm like, I am nervous about this. I felt like that run. I mean, you'll always take a run. You'll take a run in the first 5 minutes, obviously, but when we were going on that little run where we were starting to pull ahead by 13, 14, stretching it to 15, I was like, hey, this feels too early because of how of the foul trouble we were in and because of the minutes that they were being played. I'm like, these guys are going to struggle to hold on to this in the last 5 minutes. It's
Yeah,
just, I mean, I said that to my wife. I was like, I wish we were going on this run in the last 5 minutes because that breaks that other team's spirit when you start to get a double digit lead in under 5 minutes. But if you're still at 14 minutes, like they look at it and they go, well, we just got to get it down to 10 by 10 minutes and down to, 5 or 6 with 5 minutes, and then it's anybody's game. And that is how it worked out. And I was extremely nervous about. I thought we were probably going to come. I didn't know if we'd have enough gas to finish that game, and I thought if it went to overtime, we were going to be in trouble.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you saw, I mean, Billy Richmond was like not just like tired, but like cramping up and like in pain, like down the stretch there. It just had to gutsy performance by him too, dude, because like you could tell he was, like I said, that's not, he wasn't just tired, he was hurting. Like, I don't know what was going on.
Hmm.
I don't know where all he was cramping up. Looked like he was cramping everywhere. And gets out there and just gets a huge block where that's just digging deep and just being like, well, I gotta do this for can I do this for 20 more seconds, man? 20 more seconds, I just gotta do it. And did it. And it was great. Um
Well,
hey
and
man, hey
there's
man, you I mean,
sometimes
no,
the
no, no complaining after win. This is all just like kind of explanation because I thought the guys like really played hard. And it's let me say this too. It is easy to lose this game and they didn't.
yeah, and they that's a good team. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, I wasn't trying to take anything away from it. I don't know how they're winning any games with this tight rotation and a little bit of odd lineups from time to time. I mean, basically, just the lineups are not being dictated by anything like who the other team has on the floor. I mean, they're just being forced to who's in foul trouble and who needs a rest right now. That's what's dictating the lineup. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So, which is
Yeah.
not ideal. I mean, in a coach's dream, you have eight really good players and then a couple of other, maybe players that you can put in to stay, and maybe even some of those guys have particular skills that, or whether it be length or speed or defensive prowess that you can really sort of pick and choose and play chess with whoever they put on the court, knowing their tendencies. I mean, it probably makes it a little bit easy for Cal. He can probably go to bed early because there's no reason to like look at what the other team does and be like, well, how am I going to? I mean, obviously, scheme wise, maybe, but like not player personnel wise. It's like it doesn't matter what they've got or what they do or what their players' tendencies are. I'm playing the guys and then resting them and whenever I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, he's not trying to figure out what player do I have on the bench to have we haven't seen much of that could actually be effective. That's not have he's having to obviously he's coming up with a game plan, but he's constrained by like what he's got. And these guys are doing it. Getting into some of it, dude, you gotta love seeing that Arkansas has been part and this is a big thing. Like and it started kind of with the Kentucky game, and and I'm not saying we haven't out rebounded every team, but we were getting beat up on the boards early in the season, and that has stopped and gotten to the point where we're out rebounding a lot of teams now, man, and that's a big component to like why they've been winning games, and been in position to win games is they've rebounded the ball better and you can see that it's a group effort like everyone's trying to rebound the ball like they are getting in there and really trying to do that we had talked beforehand and I was hoping that Trevor Brazil after that last game that he was so good and he was all smiles and you're like wondering like man I hope you like the way that feels so much that you're going to go out there and be like hey that was mostly I mean yeah shots went down I might not be able to control that completely but a lot of things I'm getting credit for and getting patted on the back for are things I can control, which is effort and stuff. And man, it looked like he came out and he was gonna be that guy. Like he's like, I'm gonna do that again. So much so that he got two fouls, right? He was playing with so much energy that he picked up two fouls like right away and then had to sit down. And you were kind of wondering if that was going to be uh, just kind of, be a dampener on the whole thing. But man, he came out in the second half and, finishes with 11 points, 11 rebounds. All those 11 points were in the second half. And I think 10 of those 11 rebounds were in the second half. Man, you're going to come out there in the second half, play 20 minutes. So he played 23 minutes, only played 3 minutes the first half, played the entire second half, and gets, 11 points and finishes with 11 points and 11 boards, but gets you 11 points and 10 boards in a half. Dude, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, and part of me was a little bit was bummed that, one he put, he didn't play that first half or most of that first half with that early foul because, like you said, he did look great. I mean, I was really excited about the way he was playing. I mean, he looked like he had that same bounce in his step, a new confidence. His shot looked good, and I mean, am I the only person in the world that backs? I literally backed up and like, even though she doesn't care, but I'm like, sweetie, look at this rebound. And I'm backing up the tape to show my wife a guy's rebound. But that like, and I think it was right before he got fouled, but it was in that early part where he went up and held the guy off with one arm, jumped to the peak, and then grabbed that ball with one hand and pulled it down with one hand onto his hip, like Odell Beckham Jr. or something. And um, in one way, I was like, man, you feel like maybe if he's in there and he's playing that way, it isn't, maybe you just build up a 20-point lead and that you don't relinquish. But, it's like I mean, what is it? When God closes a door, he opens a window. Obviously, that's not exactly true, but the sentiment there that you got to be careful what to resent because you don't know what good might come out of it. And I mean, because you did win ultimately, obviously all's out well that ends well, but also Jonas probably wouldn't have got all those minutes. And, hopefully he can do the same thing that Brazil did, have a newfound confidence and, and not just for himself, but his teammates looking at him and like knowing that that's a guy you can just go down to and get an easy bucket. So it's like, you never know. Like, you never know how that game would have played out if he hadn't picked up those fouls and how it could help you later on, you
Yeah, for
know?
sure. Yeah, because Jonas ends up playing 32 minutes in this game, which is, I think, by far the most minutes he has played. And man, he took advantage. So Jonas finishes with 21 points, 10 rebounds. Here's the thing that gets crazy, though, dude. So 21 and 10, so double double. Good job, Jonas. You're gonna get 21 and 10. The shots, there's no threes there. So this is a guy dropping 21 with no threes. He made five free throws, so like that's five. There's five of his points there. But was
Didn't he miss five free throws too? I mean, obviously you don't
Yeah,
expect him maybe to, make it
yeah, he was
100%, but
five. Yeah, he was 5 of 10. Yeah, 5 of 10.
he had a chance for another, I mean, from
Yeah,
an awesome game to a historically awesome game if he'd made those other five.
yeah. So what I'm saying is like these are all like the vast 16 of these points were in the paint, not threes, not free throws, and that's him going. He had 8 shots in there. Jonas goes 8 of 11. I mean, like that's nasty, dude. Like, I mean, he was 8 of 11, and then gets even crazier and gives you 4 assists. Which, if Jonas is giving you 4 assists, that's nice. 3 blocks, 0 turnovers. And Jonas was he. I mean, that's his best game in an Arkansas uniform. There's no doubt about that.
For sure. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, we've been saying this all year. If this team's going to make a little run or have some, maybe magical experience in the tournament, we're going to have to get something out of, I mean, we got to get something out of everybody, but at the time it was when Jonas was, getting 15 minutes and scoring 2 points and two rebounds or something.
Yeah.
And it's like him being I mean, he didn't have to get 20 points every game, but him just being confident, and when a big Z goes to sit down, you gain a different dynamic of scorer. It just could change everything. I mean, it could also take like I said, I mean, the more guys that are capable of getting 14 points just means that if somebody else has a bad game, like Big Z, who really wasn't a bad game, but just not a, spectacular game, I mean, it felt like for a while there, it was like, well, if a dude doesn't get 20 and the other two guards don't get at least 14 or 15, then we're going to lose
Yeah.
because none of
Yeah.
these other guys are scoring. And now you see it. I mean, you've got like, well, Brazil could get you 10. Obviously, Big Z could get you 10 to 20. And basically, every guy on the floor now feels like it's possible for them to get you 10 to 14 points. And that just means that, if they all do, then you blew somebody out. But if a couple, one or two guys don't have a really great night, like the other day when, Billy was turning the ball over and stuff, like it's like, that's okay. Somebody else can pick it up. You know what I mean? We got one more guy that's capable of picking up the slack.
Yeah. Yeah. And he gives you something different. He gives you a back to the basket, throw it down there. If they're not going to double him, he's going to go left shoulder, right shoulder. And if you can make that shot, dude, that is something different. Like where that and that's a problem. Like and that's great. Like that we could you have a guy throw the ball down there and let him go to work. We don't have that apart from him. I mean, Z does a little bit of that, but Jonas is able to hold that position better. Like he's gonna get the ball and like lower his shoulder and you're not gonna move him around. And so that's great.
He's
Speaking,
also, I mean, it's an underrated talent too. Some guys just don't set good screens, and some guys set really impossible screens to get around. And I mean, Big Z and Brazil both. I like them setting screens because they usually pop out and they can stretch the floor and help the driver because they can shoot. But if you're making trying to go hard around the wheel and you're just trying to turn the corner, Jonas's screens are much better,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and it's good. I think it's good to have him on the floor in those situations. And I mean, if it's a screen inside the 3-point line, I mean, he might have the best 12-foot face up jump shot as far
yeah.
as consistency. It seems like when he gets that shot, I mean, he shoots it pretty confidently and it goes in at a high clip.
Yeah, yeah, and just that little kind of push shot in the lane too. He's got that. He's got and like he's more of the guy so yeah, you have those pick and pop guys. He's gonna screen and roll, and he is pretty good. Like gets his hands up, and if he gets the ball on that roll, there's a good chance he's dunking that. Like I mean, he does a pretty
Hmm.
good job of spotting the ball, getting his hands on it. Of course, he did score for the other team because which I agree with the announcer. I guess just dunk that dude. I mean, just like just
Hmm.
just power dunk it once it's going. Grab the rim, do whatever you want right there. Um, by the way, this is a total aside before I get to the next thing here, but I saw some people didn't like that commentary crew. I like that's the second time we've had them. I love it. I think it's great.
I mean, I guess I could see if you're somebody that likes, the more old school, straight laced guys. Although, I mean, if you get
I guess
like,
I guess I guess if you need help understanding what's going on in the game, maybe those guys aren't your guys. But if you kind of like can watch the game and you know what's going on, I don't need you to like explain to me like what's happening. The comment that like does it's more fun. And yeah, dude, I was
well,
cracking up a couple like it
I
was
think what
good.
some people are sensing, and I mean, you'd have to know, but I have to know the guy personally to know if it's true. You know, maybe it started with Dickie V or I'm not sure who, but there started to be you have the bit saying baby at the end of
Yeah,
everything when you're excited. Then who's the dude, the guy that oh, I can't remember, I'll never remember he does football games and basketball games. Uh Oh man, why can't I think of his catchphrase? Anyway, there's the one in the NBA where it's bam after every
yeah,
three-pointer. And it does feel like it started to get where commentators are a little bit less organically trying to develop their catchphrase. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I think some people are kind of sensing that with some of these guys that are trying to maybe force a little bit or shoehorn in their own catchphrase. And it does. if you get a whiff of insincerity, it doesn't come off like nearly. I mean, because that's the only. I mean, saying baby like a drunk person at a party after everything is objectively annoying, but I think it's so really him, and he's so authentic that it's endearing and people have accepted it, and now it's become iconic. But if you got the whiff, like if he walked out of there and you got the feeling that like he was putting that on, you'd want to strangle him.
See,
You know what I mean?
I guess maybe that's it. Is I didn't get that feeling. Like it seemed like he was having fun. Like he's. I guess I respect the looseness of the whole thing. Like most people, like it's like no nerves. Like just being like, hey, I'm out. Like I got a good job here. I got a good gig, man. Like I'm supposed. My job is the color commentator. Like I'm supposed to like make this fun. So I'm gonna have fun with it, right? I respect the game. Anyway, I like it. The You're talking about guys that can get you some points. How about DJ Wagner getting you 24 points this game? Also goes 7 of 9 shooting, so he didn't miss a lot. Goes 7 of 7 from the free throw line. Went 3 of 4 from the 3 point line. Get you 5 assists. Uh, DJ played pretty great, dude, especially down the
Yeah,
stretch.
it doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
No, no, that's about as well as you can play, I would think, wouldn't you?
Hmm.
Punctuated by like a step back, deep, essentially game-winning kind of three, right? Where you're like, let me do this to you real quick. I mean, that's a dude that shot takes stones. And yeah, remember, man, DJ's only a sophomore, and so I don't hate the idea of DJ Wagner coming back to Arkansas next year. I hope he does because we got two good guards coming in. I'm here for it. I think DJ can continue to get better and better.
Get
And
DJ and Billy and two other really good guards. We'll have our guards set.
set,
Although,
dude.
like I said, with injuries, you never know. So you can't. I don't hate having a bunch of backups.
Yeah, four guys. Well, and also just like there's minutes here, dude. I mean, it'd be nice if they didn't have to play. I mean, DJ plays 38 minutes. He sat out for 1 minute per half. I mean, I'm sure even
Yeah.
DJ would be like, I wouldn't mind playing 34 minutes a game as opposed to 38. Like this 38 minutes a game thing is like is hard, you know? And
Hmm.
so and you get you have a better chance of getting the best version of him for all of those minutes. It's just hard. Playing 38 minutes is tough, dude. Like how are you supposed to do that? And put out maximum energy the whole time. I couldn't. Now
I
DJ,
don't know. I don't know how those guys play that hard for that long. It's crazy.
yeah. So he played great. And Billy Richmond, we talked about him, big huge block. He ended up with 10 points. Hit four. By the way, he was clutch too. Hit four big free throws. It was 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Billy also gets you. He actually turns out to be your assist leader, and Billy Richmond gets you 6 assists. So Billy out there distributing the ball, and he did have 3 turnovers. He had 3 of the 10 turnovers, but he had a 2-to-1 assist ratio in this game. So you'll take it. Like so, he's dishing out 6 assists. You can have 3 turnovers if you do that. Uh, what else, dude? Jonell Davis had like a real quiet 15. So he was good. Went 4-4 from the free throw line. Had 4 rebounds. He had 4 assists, and he turned the ball over exactly 0 times. And
Yeah, no, I thought he was great. I mean, they obviously were trying to get the ball in his hands in the end when they were going to have somebody. They knew they were going. We knew we were kind of a little bit bleeding the clock, and then going to have somebody attack because they knew they wanted to send him to the free throw line, and he stepped up and did that. I mean, his defense was great. He hit a couple of timely threes. Yeah, I thought everything about his game was great. He was basically really honestly everybody played great. The only guy that was a little bit lackluster was Big Z, and
it still wasn't.
he
It still
wasn't
wasn't bad.
it wasn't bad. It was just, not the game he's going to show his, run home to show his parents or whatever,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And Carter Knox too. Carter Knox was quiet. He had 6 points, but again, he didn't play
yeah.
bad. Didn't play bad.
No, he
Played
didn't play. Yeah, I would say I mean, because he still got he got in some foul trouble. I mean, maybe made him a little less aggressive, but yeah, he didn't really make a bunch of mistakes or anything.
No. Well, all right, dude. Well, the big thing about this game, guys, is that the hog this is pretty much ensures that the Hogs are dancing. Regardless of what else happens, the Hogs are gonna do some postseason basketball, which I was talking with Jake yesterday, and 6 weeks ago, you thought that that was very unlikely, if not almost impossible, and you would have taken any version of getting there. And looks like they have done it. They got South Carolina on Wednesday at noon. So you have a noon game on Wednesday for the SEC tournament. Uh, I mean, that's a game you probably want to win. I don't. If you lose it, I don't think that that means you're out of the tournament or anything like that. But because it's South Carolina and because they already beat you, there's a little revenge there. And then there is also why give the committee in the case if there's a bunch of bid stealers this week, you know, why give the committee anything to consider if you don't need to have them say, well, Arkansas did lose to South Carolina twice, who's a non-tournament team. Why give them anything like that? So that's one that you probably want to see if you can go out there and get.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking with Dan earlier, and I said, I mean, I was thinking like if we got matched up against Old Miss or something, or Texas A&M, I was like, man, if I was Cal, I might just roll my guys out there, say don't get hurt, and not try to win that game that much, and try to keep everybody healthy, and then just relax and focus on winning a game in the tournament. Because, like I said, with all the adversity that this team has had, if they could somehow, and it's not even close to like impossible at all. I mean, anyone can win a game or two in the tournament. I mean, it is hard, but it's also just a game, and then it's just one more game, and then you've gone from a devastating season of just misery and ups and downs and letdowns to like a Cinderella story, and like a really cool season that everybody will remember for a long time. And winning the SEC tournament, it's so big now, dude. If you looked at that bracket, it's like you
Yeah,
have to play so many games, and you're not. I mean, it's just like, do you even want with a 7 guy rotation to try to beat Old Miss and then Texas A&M and then what, Auburn and then somebody else? It's like I don't. I mean, and for what? I'd rather win 2 games in the SEC tournament and be in the Sweet 16. But when you get matched up with South Carolina, it's like you can't lose to South Carolina twice when they're the worst team in the SEC. That's just, you got to try to win that game. You know
yeah,
what I mean? After that, I won't feel too bad if they. I mean, I'm just so worried about injuries at this point.
yeah, yeah,
Like, the only thing that could make this season just another whiplash is if you make it to the tournament and then somebody else gets hurt or something before you get in there. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. So yeah, let's pull it together, get revenge on them. And there's no definitive word on Thero either. Like, is he might be back for a tournament run. I don't know. They have not said. So that wouldn't hurt either. So here's
no, that
hoping.
would be awesome because I think the rest of the guys have also, like I said, gained in confidence and in their positions on the team from him being out too. And I think if he came back, I mean, if you had that many more minutes to spread around and you could just get Billy and those guys to go full blast when they're out there, rather than have to be a little bit careful with their fouls, have to be a little bit careful with their energy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, I think they could really have something. But at any rate, yeah, sorry about the late thing too. I mean, my daughter had games yesterday, and then Dan had an engagement last night, and then Dan has to go to church like a good boy. And here it is Sunday afternoon, and we're out and about and
yeah,
doing it. But sorry about that.
yeah. Well, we'll
The
we'll try
sun is about
to
to blast me.
with the tournament because it'll be quick. We'll try to be quick. We'll try to get something out on Wednesday at some point Wednesday after the game because we know if we win, especially if we win, because you'll be playing on Thursday. So,
I
so
am working Wednesday, so I probably won't be able to do it right away, but we'll see.
yeah, we'll
So,
we'll try to figure it out. All right, bro. Well,
all
I'll
right.
talk to you Wednesday.
See you guys.